season long for the Cincinnati Reds. He became the first player ever to win Player of the Month honors in April and May. Davis, the National League's most dynamic young talent, tied with Atlanta's Dale Murphy for home runs and runs scored. He's a defensive marvel, too. Watch him go over the wall in Cincinnati to take a homer away from the Pirates' Jim Morrison. He's made that kind of move on 4 occasions this season. Today, here in Atlanta, Pete Rose installs more youth in his outfield. Rose has his Reds on top, and today he'll call on Cal Daniels. Daniels, who has led off with homers on 5 occasions this season, starts today in left field. Tracy Jones gets the call from Rose in right. Jones, a #1 pick in '83. Rose now gives him a chance to play every day by moving the veteran Dave Parker over to first base. In first place in the National League West, the Reds lead Houston by 1.5, Frisco by 2.5, and the Braves by 3.5. Cincinnati's at Atlanta on the baseball game of the week.
National Broadcasting Company, now in its 7th decade of bringing you baseball's memories. Baseball's milestones. Baseball's majesty. And baseball's magical moments. NBC Sports proudly presents the Major League Baseball Game of the Week. Today, from Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, it's the Cincinnati Reds versus the Atlanta Braves. The Game of the Week is brought to you by the Miller Brewing Company, sole sponsor of the U.S. Olympic Training Centers. By the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevy trucks. By Money Financial Services, we start with a plan and make it work. And by AC Delco, the smart parts.
A steamy Saturday afternoon in the Georgia Capitol as the Reds and the Braves get set for action. A doubleheader day on NBC, and we're happy to have you with us. Jay Randolph to call the play-by-play, and one of the stories here in Atlanta is what's going to happen to the Cincinnati Reds' Nick Osaski. He's been playing first base. Last night he homered twice here, but the Braves battered the Reds. Osaski may be traded to the Atlanta Braves. That's the story making the rounds. A youth movement in the outfield today for Pete Rose's Reds, and Joe Morgan, who is working with me, talks to the beneficiaries of that move.
Thank you, Jay. We're here with Cal Daniels and Tracy Jones, the new left fielder every day for the Cincinnati Reds and the new right fielder every day. Cal, I know you've been looking forward to being an everyday player. Now you get your chance.
Well, as of right now, I'm happy about it, but who knows what'll happen. You know, I'm happy to be in the lineup every day against everybody, and just hope I can continue to do what I'm doing.
Well, you've hit well against left-handers so far this season.
Well, as of right now, you know, I had 2 starts against them, 2 for 6. You know, that's not a bad average, but most of it was courtesy starts, and some are late scratch, you know. As of right now, I'm just going to bear down and just do the best I can.
Well, it must be fun to know you don't have to look in the paper every day and realize who's pitching before you know if you're going to play or not.
That's true, too, because Tracy always used to tell me when a left-hander was throwing. So if a left-hander throwing the next day, I knew I wasn't playing, so I just came to the lineup prepared not to play.
Okay. Tracy, you're going to be the new right fielder for the Reds. You played a little center field. When you played center field, Eric Davis told me all that did was even up the teams.
Well, if Eric said that, I might have to have a little talk with him before the game. You know, right field's going to be different, and I haven't really taken any balls there yet, but I'm going to work and continue to work hard like I always do, and we'll see what happens.
Well, you've also hit over 300 against right-handers, so it won't be strange for you.
Yeah, I think I'm hitting 312.7. I got that worked out. Yeah, I feel confident. I can hit right-handers and as well as left-handers. We'll see what happens. It's a long season. Parker says I can't stand playing every day, so we'll see what happens.
Well, Pete Rose gave you the ultimate compliment. He said you're one of the hardest playing players he's ever seen. So good luck to both of you. And we'll throw it back up to Jay in the booth.
And it'll be Bill Gullickson going for Cincinnati this afternoon. Doyle Alexander gets the call for the Atlanta Braves. We'll be back with the Cincinnati starting lineup right after these messages. The sun has broken through here in Atlanta. We've had showers throughout the day. No batting practice or infield practice for either of the squads prior to this afternoon's action. And you can see we've got a lot of heavy clouds overhead. Here's the lineup for the Reds. And a very impressive lineup. Daniels in left field. He is followed by Tracy Jones and Eric Davis. Then it's Parker, followed by Buddy Bell, Bo Diaz, Kurt Stillwell, Ron Oster, and the pitcher this afternoon is Bill Gullickson. Gullickson being opposed by Doyle Alexander. The battery this afternoon, Alexander and Bruce Benedict for the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta in their new home uniforms with Griffey, James, and Murphy left to right in the outfield. Kenny Oberkfell plays third. Andres Thomas is at short. Glenn Hubbard having a wonderful year at second. Gerald Perry at first. These two teams playing the 13th game of the year against one another. They're 6-6. They've split a 4-game series last week in Cincinnati. There's a good look at Doyle Alexander, a record of 3-1, 1-7 in his career against the Cincinnati Reds. Alexander, seeking his third straight victory this afternoon, is making his 6th start and appearance of the 87 year and his 5th here at home. Alexander, one of 5 pitchers to win a decision from all the major league clubs. The others are Gaylord Perry and Rick Wise and Mike Torres and Don Sutton. And Joe, he worked very hard, a conditioning program in extended spring training down in Florida. And when he is right, he's very tough. He has an assortment of pitches, a whole buffet of them.
Well, he's coming off a great game last week against the Giants. What he does is he throws a lot of off-speed pitches. It has about 5 pitches: fastball, curveball, slider, change, and he even changes off of the changeup. So he throws a lot of different speeds with each pitch, and he can be awfully tough. You have to have a lot of patience with Doyle Alexander. And he used his fastball. He used his off-speed pitches to set up his fastball, but he will throw a lot of fastballs.
Cal Daniels, 5 home runs leading off. And Ricky Henderson also has 5 over in the other league. Henderson, of course, on the DL. He'd be leading off right about now in that game this afternoon between the Yankees and Boston. First pitch as we are underway, a little low for a ball. This is high for ball 2.
It's not as important for Doyle Alexander to be ahead in the count as it is most pitchers, although you always like to pitch from ahead.
A high drive to left, and is this the 6th time? Yes! Cal Daniels opens the action in Atlanta with a round tripper.
I think he likes playing every day.
Number 16 in the home run department, number 33 in the RBI department. Daniels, 23 years old. He hit .371 at Denver last year.
I think the reason a lot of people do not know about Cal Daniels, of course, is Eric Davis.
That's right. Here's Tracy Jones. And Jones hits one deep. And it is out of here. Well, your guests on the pregame show have really capped it off at the start of this one.
I tell you, when I talked to them in the clubhouse, they were so excited about knowing that they were going to play every day. They said, we might do something special today, and they have.
Number 8 for Jones, RBI number 25, 2-0.
He said he could hit right-handers.
That is now 91 home runs on the season for Cincinnati. At this time last year, they'd hit only 49. And here's Eric Davis. Right down the middle for strike 1. Davis batting .306. The fans here cheering on Alexander, who finally got one over that wasn't whapped out of here. Kenny Oberkfell throws across, and Eric Davis is the first out of the game. Oberkfell, a former Cardinal. He's really found a home here in Atlanta. Alexander, a favorite of Bobby Cox, did very well in Toronto pitching for Cox. He was 17-6 in '84. 11 losses, 14 wins here in '80. Been with 9 clubs in a long and checkered career. This is fouled back and out of play. Maybe checkered isn't the right word, but it'll play, I guess.
Well, he was one of my teammates for a while. I tell you, Doyle Alexander will not be flustered by the fact he's given up the 2 runs. He will settle down, and I think he'll pitch a fine ball game.
Parker fouls this one away. Oh, yeah, it is foul. Parker playing at first base today. And Big Dave hasn't played there since '74. He played 6 games there for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he's always up to a new challenge.
Yes, he is. I talked to him before the ball game, and he said to get one of those guys in the lineup on an everyday basis, he would do anything, because they've proven that they can play in the major leagues and drive in runs and score runs. So he wants another bat in front of him. Actually, it gives him an opportunity to drive in a few more runs, I believe.
Dave Parker, 36 years of age on June the 9th, 6'5", 230. They call him the Cobra. He's averaged 112 RBIs over the last 3 years. And the move back to Cincinnati really gave him another chance.
Well, I think it accomplished 2 things. He was going home where he grew up, but it was also giving him the opportunity to start all over again. He lost a lot of weight, and he really got himself in shape when he went back to Cincinnati.
Here's one down the right side. Dale Murphy playing over there makes the play, and they're 2 gone.
That's one of the things that Doyle Alexander does so well. He changed speeds on the fastball there and got Dave out in front, and all Dave could do was swing with his arms. And he hit a fly ball to Darryl Murphy. One of the things I think we should mention, Jay, is that of Cal Daniels' 16 home runs, most of them have gone to the left center field section of the ballpark. He hits a lot of home runs the opposite way. And the only trouble is they're calling him solo, because he hits a lot of solo homers. But when you're hitting leadoff and you hit 6 in the first inning, you don't have a lot of opportunities.
Buddy Bell, the local boy, now 35 years of age. His dad, of course, Gus Bell. Popped up down the right side. Perry ranging over, a lot of room in foul ground, and he makes the play. But Cincinnati gets homers from Daniels and Jones, and after a half inning of play, it is 2-0 Reds. Daniels and Jones starting in the outfield. Daniels out and left, Jones in right, both homering in this first inning.
I think the interesting thing here, Jay, is the fact that Tracy Jones had to adjust to a new position as well as starting every day. And here's Daniels hitting his 16th home run of the season and his 12th home run to the left side of the diamond. He's hit 12 to the left, 2 to right center, and 2 to straightaway right. And there's Tracy Jones. He says, I have to keep my spot in the lineup. So he follows him. Back-to-back home runs leading off the ball game for the Reds, and they lead 2-0.
On the mound, Bill Gullickson, 7-4. Gully, biggest winner in '86 for the Reds, was 15-12, and he faces Dion James, who will lead it off for Atlanta. James batting .269. And a strike on the outside corner. That's the veteran Billy Williams calling balls and strikes this afternoon. Williams, born in Brooklyn, lives in Florida, 56 years old, has been umpiring in the National League since 1963.
And I know he's thrilled to have that big jacket on in this hot weather.
Like today, huh? The hook is inside. John McSherry's at first, Frank Pulley at second, and Fred Brocklander at third. Dion James, rookie, hit .282 at Vancouver in '86. There's one right down the middle. James came from Milwaukee for Brad Kaminsk in January of this year. Hit .295 in 128 games for the Brewers in '84. He's had some shoulder problems. single for James. This is a rock-hard infield, as you know, Joe.
I was noticing that ball, Jay. That ball just jumped through the infield. It was faster than AstroTurf.
That Georgia red clay hardens up pretty good down here.
With this hot sun baking it.
Willie Stargell coaching at first base. A former National League MVP, Parker at first base there. Gullickson looking in. Kenny Oberkfell standing there. Obi batting .300, has 24 runs batted in, no homers. That's high and inside. Gullickson, 28 years of age, 6'3" and 220. Oberkfell from Southern Illinois. A look at the right side. And with Parker holding, a big hole through the right side for Oberkfell. That's high. Gullickson is a diabetic, and he's done a great deal of charity work over the years for diabetes and diabetes research. I know I've been associated with a diabetes golf tournament in the Cincinnati area, and we've had a lot of fun there over the past couple of years. Bill has really done some wonderful work. And a remarkable schoolboy career at Joliet Catholic. There's a strike on the inside corner. Gullickson was traded to the Reds with Sal Butera for Jay Tibbs, Andy McGaffigan, John Stuper, and Dan Bilardello prior to the '86 season. Had a 17-12 record in '83 at Montreal. 2 balls and 1 strike. Atlanta batting .269 as a unit coming into today's action. Double play ball. Oster to Stillwell and across to Parker. Oberkfell hits into the double play.
That was a tailor-made double play, and Ron Oster, veteran second baseman, turned it over to Stillwell. He makes the good play here, gets it on the short hop. Good toss. Stillwell comes across. Deion James gave him a little pressure, but he had to get down.
Gerald Perry's batting in the number 3 spot. 244 is the average. Perry, born in Savannah, Georgia, lives down in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. And that's high and outside.
I talked about the fact that Doyle Alexander could pitch from behind. Gullickson cannot. He's the type of guy who needs to stay ahead of the hitters to be effective, because he doesn't change speeds nearly as much as Doyle Alexander does.
That's low. 2 balls and no strikes. The Braves have a record of 2-3 here, and they have won 4 of the 7 at Riverfront. This will play for Ron Oster. And Perry grounds out. We played an inning here at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, and Cincinnati has a 2-0 advantage. This graphic points up the power surge of the Reds, and also that we have a livelier baseball in 1987, Joe.
I don't think there's any doubt that the baseball is livelier this year than in the past, and most teams are surpassing their '86 home run production. And I think the real key to me is I see guys hitting the ball to the opposite field into the upper deck, and that says to me that there's some rabbit in the ball.
Even Rafael Santana hit his 3rd home run of the season last night, and in the previous 3 years he'd only hit 3 altogether. So
right.
that maybe illustrates it best.
Yeah, well, Greg Gross had not hit one in about 7 years.
Bo Diaz leads it off as we move into the 2nd inning. 2-0 game. Diaz takes a strike on the outside corner. Diaz, now 34 years old, bounced back from that injury that marred his '85 season. He's done a good job handling this staff. Tough play and no way to make it. An infield single for Diaz as we start this 2nd inning. Diaz starting the day with a .270 average.
Alexander threw him a sinker and he chopped it, and with the fact he doesn't run very well, Ken Oberkfell at third base was playing back way behind the bag as you see him come charging in, but he really has no play, and there was no chance for it to go foul either. So just an infield base hit.
Here's Kurt Stillwell, just 22 years old, a Californian, #1 in the '83 draft. And it's down the right side, and Murphy he can't get it. Murphy had his glove on it. It's over the wall. A 2-run homer for Kurt Stillwell, his 3rd of the season. And here in the launching pad, they're flying out early.
They don't call this the launching pad for nothing. That was a line drive that just went right out of here. And usually for the little guys, you have to get the ball in the air a little bit to drive it out. That was just a line drive that went right over the top of the fence.
Looked like Murphy did get his glove on it, but he was turned the wrong way. We'll see it again.
It's a fastball in the inside half of the plate, and he drives it on the line. And you see Murphy goes back. He gets there quick enough, I think. Now he leaps. No,
he couldn't get there. Did not get his glove on it. From our angle, looked like he did. Ron Oster's batting .237. 16 RBIs and a home run. Oster, kind of the unsung hero of the '85 Reds. Second baseman. He hit .295 in '85. He's from Cincinnati, graduate of Withrow High School. Strike on the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. The Reds bouncing out to a 4-0 lead here. That's outside. Fulton County Stadium opened on April the 12th of 1966. A hitter's paradise. You know, Joe, one of the reasons, at least one of the theories about why the ball jumps out of here, this is just about the highest park in the majors.
Yeah, I think it's 1,000 feet above sea level or something, and the ball just jumps out of here. But truthfully, Jay, it used to jump out even more. Remember, they moved home plate back a little bit,
right.
And it actually had an effect on the carry of the ball. It made it, you know, a little tougher to hit it out, but now it seems like it's very easy to hit it out with the live ball.
On the payoff pitch, here's one into center field. And a play made right against the wall by Dion James. The outfielders are going to have a busy day, it looks like.
I tell you one thing, Doyle Alexander better start with his sinker. He better start making him hit some ground balls here. And he's calling out the catcher now, Bruce Benedict. They're going to have a conference here, because if he continues to let them hit the ball in the air, he's not going to be around very long. So I think he's going to have to start throwing a few more sinkers and go to a few more changeups, because they will hurt him with this fastball, especially if it doesn't sink.
Alexander lives now in Texas. He was born down in Cordoba, Alabama, 36 years ago.
Doyle is a very intelligent pitcher, so I believe that he will make some adjustments. I don't think you'll see any more first ball fastballs down the middle of the plate.
Well, there's a fastball that caught the inside corner to Gullickson. You can do that with Gullickson, I suppose, but he's a pretty good hitting pitcher. 7 hits and 30 at-bats this season. He has a home run, a couple of RBIs. Alexander's out in front 0-2. This Cincinnati club hitting .267 as a team coming into today's game. They've been running more. They have a lot of young talent that can run. They've stolen 84 bases.
There's no doubt they have the makings of a very fine ball club for quite a few years to come.
And fouled away again.
I think one thing they will need is a veteran to give stability like Parker does when he leaves these guys, because you need one rock in the lineup, and I think Parker is that rock that they have right now. And in a couple of years, they're going to need someone to replace him.
Check swing foul over into the Atlanta dugout. Atlanta with those new uniforms. I kind of like the new home uniforms with the tomahawk there.
Well, they're interesting.
Chuck Tanner. Chuck, he'll be 58 in July, from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Swing and a miss, strikeout, the first for Alexander. And we'll go back to the top of the order, Cal Daniels, who started things off with a home run. Pretty good crowd on hand. They're giving away replicas of the Braves shirts today to the youngsters. And they've turned out here in Atlanta on a very warm and typical June day here in Georgia.
I tell you, the 4 runs the Reds have are really not enough in this ballpark, because the Braves are capable of putting a lot of numbers on the board, as they did last night.
16-5 last night. That's the most runs they've scored this year and the most runs the Reds had given up. Previous high for Atlanta had been 14 over in St. Louis earlier this year. Daniels, 1 ball and 1 strike. Nobody on and 2 out and 2 runs home. The 2-run homer by Kurt Stillwell. Foul back. Cincinnati in the last 10 games a record of 4-6. The Braves 6-4 in their last 10. The Braves come in today at 500, 33-33. The Reds are 37-30. That just missed outside. When you talk about the Braves, they could use a bit more pitching help, as everybody could. Chuck Tanner feels he's got a much improved club. Here's Murphy on the run at the warning track, jumps and makes the catch. He just kind of one-armed that one, and it almost went out of here. 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors and none left after an inning and a half here in Atlanta. 4-0 the Reds. The Reds lead it 4-0. Along with Joe Morgan, this is Jay Randolph. Hope you're enjoying the first of our doubleheader games this afternoon. Coming up later on, the Dodgers at Houston. In Scully, Joe Garagiola with the call. So stay with us this Saturday afternoon on NBC. Well, here's Dale Murphy, 6th in the batting department with a .332 average, 46 runs batted in. He has 57 walks too. That leads the National League. One of the premier players in the game today. That's a little high. He's one of the nice people in the game today too.
He's a great guy, and he's a great baseball player. I mean, defensively as well as offensively. Good clutch hitter. He can do everything. He's a very, very fine baseball player.
Now playing right field here, and his manager Chuck Tanner told me yesterday he thinks he's the best right fielder in baseball.
Well, he had been one of the best center fielders because he had won Gold Gloves the last few years. Now maybe he'll move to right and win some more.
They asked McSherry for the appeal on that. No strike is given, so it's 2 balls and no strikes to Murphy. Bill Gullickson trying to win number 8 for the 4th time. And it's 3-0 to Murphy. As we remind you, this telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Right down central, 3-1.
I think one of the reasons that Murphy is having a lot of success this year is the guy hitting behind him in the on-deck circle, Ken Griffey. Griffey's hitting .347, and he's also a left-handed hitter, which makes a lot of right-handed hitters have to pitch to Murphy. And if you pitch to him, he will do some damage.
There's a strike on the outside corner. The count is full. Murphy had his 15-game hitting streak stopped yesterday. Earlier in the year, Pendleton of the Cardinals had a 19-game hitting streak. He leads the National League in walks, as we mentioned, and of course in strikeouts. But we were talking about that, Joe, and I'll make a point with you in a moment as that's fouled out of play. You see a lot of fellas like Murphy with a lot of strikeouts. Jack Clark, when you played with Cincinnati. Perez with a lot of strikeouts. Bench. But those fellas never got cheated up there. They might strike out a lot, but they never shortened up their swing. They were always trying to do some damage.
Well, I think they know their roles, and they go after it. They know they can hit 2-strike home runs as well as no-strike home runs, so they don't ever shorten up. They don't get cheated, as you mentioned.
And a walk to Murphy.
And I think the good power hitter realizes he's going to strike out quite a few times during the year, and he just accepts that and continues to do his job.
Gullickson has given up his first pass of the afternoon. And Ken Griffey will come into the dish. Griffey, a former Cincinnati Red, of course, Joe, and now 37 years old, from Donora, Pennsylvania. Donora, the home of another fine baseball man, Stan the Man Musial.
Not a bad left-handed hitter, huh?
Not too bad. And Griffey takes a strike at the letters. He looks back at Billy Williams, thinking it might have been a little high.
You know, Griffey's son was a #1 draft in the Major League draft. And he's hit his 3rd home run last night. Ken told me before the ball game. He called him last night. He went 3 for 4 and hit his 3rd home run of the year. He's only played about 10 games.
Came out of Moeller High in Cincinnati, of course. And Griffey lofts one high and deep. Davis in center field. Think about Moeller High School. They've turned out some tremendous football teams there over the years and some great athletes, but Griffey's youngster is supposed to be a dandy.
When I played for Cincinnati, he would bring him in the clubhouse all the time, and all he wanted to do was hit. He would hit in the batting practice. He'd hit in the dugout. He'd hit in the clubhouse. All he wanted to do was hit. I knew he was going to grow up to be a hitter. I had some young kids around me. Pete Rowe's son, Petey, and Hal McRae's son. And Ed Sprague, all these guys' sons have gone on to, play pro baseball.
Here's Andres Thomas batting .253. Throw over to first. Murphy is back. Thomas is just 23 years old. They have high hopes for him here at shortstop. Smooth fielder from the Dominican. Signed on as a free agent. Bell comes on, makes the play in time. Well, they're 2 gone as Murphy moves down to second.
Buddy Bell has won a lot of gold gloves at third base in the American League. He's one of the fine fielding third basemen in baseball as well. He does it very smoothly.
Buddy Bell wearing the same number his daddy wore. Happy to be back in his hometown. A lot of fellows on this Reds club, Cincinnati natives, or fellows that grew up around Cincinnati or went to school there. Bruce Benedict is batting only .128. Benedict, now 31 years old, from Birmingham, Alabama. Very popular Brave, does a lot of speaking engagements in the area during the winter months. His dad played in the Yankee and Cardinal organizations. Virgil not in the lineup. Virgil's been playing very, very well. Homered here last night. Atlanta won last evening 16-5. Virgil had 4 runs batted in, hit his 18th home run of the year, and Oberkfell and Perry and Thomas all had RBIs, 3 apiece. There's Virgil. And that's a little low, 3-0. Cincinnati won here Thursday evening 8-4. Davis went 3 for 5, had 3 RBIs and a home run, and Daniels also homered. We've had 3 homers from Cincinnati today: Daniels, Jones, and Stillwell. 4-0. Cincinnati leading, and a strike on the corner. 3-1. Benedict played in 64 games last year for the Braves. Hit .225. A .219 lifetime hitter against the Reds. And it's popped up, coming back, and out of play. Later today, Houston taking on Los Angeles. Second game of our doubleheader on NBC. Talking with Chuck Tanner, Joe, he thinks Houston is the team to beat in the National League West.
Well, I think the reason he's saying that is because Houston can throw 4 starters at you that you know are capable of winning the ball game anytime they go out. And the Reds and the Giants really are struggling a little bit with their starting pitching, and I think that's the key. And right now, as you go to the dog days, you need pitching more than you do anything else.
3-2 pitch to Benedict. And is it going to get out of here? Will it stay fair? It is a home run for Benedict. Just inside the line. His first home run of the season. And Benedict picks up his 3rd and 4th RBIs of the season. It's 4-2. You think the ball's not flying out of here this afternoon? Wow.
This will remind you of Fenway Park in Boston. No lead is safe on a Saturday afternoon.
There's no green wall out there, though.
Nothing to stop it, huh? Benedict has an excellent swinger. See his balance? Good swing. He knows it's a home run from the moment he makes contact.
Just inside the line, as you saw, and third base umpire Fred Brocklander was way down the line to watch it. 4-2, not 4-1, folks. Glenn Hubbard batting .295.
Hubbard has been a real pleasant surprise for the Braves because
really
Moscow Garcia was supposed to be the second baseman, and they were going to sit him on the pine, but Garcia had a knee operation, and now Hubbard has really turned in a fine season for them.
He's responded extremely well. Born in Germany. The last time that Benedict homered was way back in 1984.
They didn't have any rabbit in the ball then.
I guess not. 2-2. 2 runs home and 2 out.
I'm surprised he knew how to trot. That's a long time.
You never forget that, do you?
It's like riding a bike. Huh?
That's right. 3-2. Gullickson has thrown a lot of pitches early.
Well, as I said, Gullickson is a power pitcher. He throws a hard sinker, hard slider, and occasionally he'll get up in the strike zone, and that's where he gets hurt because his fastball up doesn't have as much movement on it.
Out into left field, and a fine play by Daniels. Daniels coming on to take it right off the top of the grass. And it is a 4-2 score on the board favoring Cincinnati, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Well, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Nick Saski is rumored to be headed to the Atlanta Braves on the trading block now that the change has been made in the outfield and Parker has been moved to first. Saski is an assassin when it comes to playing against Atlanta. Look at those figures.
He's hit the 10 home runs here in the Atlanta County Fulton Stadium. He hit 2 home runs last night. He was trying to show Pete his displeasure at the announcement that he was not going to be starting anymore. And I talked to Nick, before the ball game, and he had a very philosophical about it. He said, hey, I know I can play in the big leagues and someone will want me, and he figures he's going to be traded.
He lives in Marietta, Georgia, about 15 miles from this stadium.
It's interesting, Jay, 1985, I did the TV for the Reds.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Right.
Tracy Jones standing in, and it's inside.
And one of the things I talked to Pete about, I tried to get Pete to start Eric Davis and Nick Saski. But they both were striking out a lot, and he'd put them in for a while and take them out. And I told him those 2 guys could be home run hitters for you in the future. And they needed an opportunity to play.
You were managing from the booth again.
Yeah. Well, he would ask me questions sometimes, and we got in that discussion. And I really liked Saski, and I still do. And I really like Eric Davis, and he's proven, of course, to be, so anybody could have figured that out, that he was going to be a great player.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, the Reds and the Braves are talking. Bill Burgish is here on the trip with the Cincinnati Reds. 5 of the 10 banners that we have seen for Cincinnati have gotten the ball to the warning track or beyond already in this game. They're just announcing that it was Benedict's first homer since September 26 of 1984 to the media here in Atlanta. Down the right side, it'll play for Gerald Perry, unassisted. And Jones is the first out of the 3rd inning.
I think what you've seen here the second time around, how Doyle Alexander made adjustments on Cal Daniels and now Tracy Jones. He threw him a lot of off-speed pitches, and he made sure he kept the ball down on both of them, and he was able to get them both out. See, the ball's down and away, and Tracy doesn't have any type of a swing at it. He just makes contact.
Tracy Jones coming into today's play, a .441 career lifetime hitter against Atlanta. Here's Eric Davis, grounded out in the 1st. That's foul outside the 3rd. We're seeing Cincinnati's outfield of the future assembled here this afternoon.
And it could be together for a long period of time because they're all young players.
Davis played on the sandlots of Los Angeles with the likes of Darryl Strawberry and Chris Brown. There's a man who played on the sandlots of Cincinnati, too.
In
Pete Rose.
1984, Jay, I played in the American League my last year in the major leagues, and I thought Toronto with George Bell, Barfield, and Mosby had the finest young outfield I'd ever seen put together. I think the Cincinnati Reds are second to them. I still think that's the finest outfield I've ever seen put together because they could all run, throw, and hit. And I think the Reds have, you know, the power that those guys have, but I don't think they can run and play defense quite as well, other than Eric Davis.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, Davis is something else when it comes to playing defense. He can do it all.
Ooh. Alexander feels that he's
2-2.
been getting squeezed a little bit there by Billy Williams. He thought he had Tracy Jones struck out. As we take a look at this pitch, Billy Williams says it's a ball.
Struck him out now, and that is the second strikeout for Alexander. He got Gullickson earlier. Here comes Parker.
I think
he flied to right back in the first, a 305 lifetime hitter against the Braves.
I don't think we can give Dave Parker enough credit for what he's done with the Cincinnati Reds since he's been there. Not just the statistical part of it, but the fact that he has been the guy that Pete Rose knows that he can count on every single day. He plays against left-handers, right-handers, does a great job. And he's something that these young players can look up to and work off of because he works very hard. And him moving to first base, I think, only makes that even more important.
First pitch in for a strike. This one fouled back. The big guy, Parker, born in Jackson, Mississippi, but he grew up in the Cincinnati area.
The Reds actually have 5 players that went to high school in Cincinnati. Ron Oster, Barry Larkin, Pete Rose, Dave Parker, and Buddy Bell. All of them went to high school in Cincinnati.
And it's a team with a lot of very successful first-round draft choices, too. That's inside. Good stop there by Bruce Benedict. Tomorrow afternoon, it'll be Rick Mailer against Ted Power in the getaway game for these two teams. That's foul.
That was
Alexander,
a change-up off of a change-up.
That's exactly what I was about to say. And Parker almost timed it to get it out of the building.
I think he waited and counted to 3 and still couldn't wait long enough.
This one is low. The Reds won their last pennant in '79, the National League West, and lost to the Pirates, who went on and won the World Series. The Braves' last pennant, the National League West, in '82, and they lost to the Cardinals. Cardinals went on to defeat L.A. This is back, and is there a play? Yes. Just in front of the screen, Benedict handles that foul pop. So they're down 1-2-3, and after 2.5, we'll continue our baseball coverage. The second half of our doubleheader. The Houston Astros meet the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Scott is coming off a 14 strikeout performance against the Reds on Monday. Tim Leary will be the pitcher for the Dodgers. That's coming up next. The Dodgers and the Astros here on NBC.
Scott leads the National League in strikeouts and earned run average.
Doyle Alexander standing in against Bill Gullickson to lead off the third for Atlanta, and the first pitch is high. 1 hit at 13 at bats this season for Doyle Alexander. Looks pretty good at the plate. That didn't look very good.
No. Maybe he shouldn't have swung.
This guy's, he doesn't know when he's supposed to hit and when he's not supposed to hit. He's been all over the American League and the National League. This is the 9th club that he's played with. He's actually been with Atlanta, I guess, on 3 different occasions, you could say. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think that would be a good question to ask a pitcher who's traveled as much as he does. Which does he prefer? You know, most pitchers love to hit.
They do. I get a kick out of them when they have the opportunity to get in that batting cage. They love to take their licks. And he makes contact, and this one is just above our broadcast position. Somebody must have made a good play up there. There is the much-traveled Alexander itinerary, you might say. He's got a lot of stickers on his bags, I'll tell you that. And his strikeout. That's the first strikeout for Bill Gullickson this afternoon. We'll go around to the top of the order, and Deion James, who singled to start the game for Atlanta. Sun shining brightly now. There's Chuck Tanner, 9-year association with the Pirates, his 3rd year here in Atlanta. Signed with the Boston Braves back in '46. Good baseball man. Bruce Dal Canton there alongside. James fouls it out of play off to the left side. Atlanta, a vibrant city, the capital of the great state of Georgia. Oh, they've got their new travel system in there. Roads that are being reconstructed around the stadium. They're always building and going here. This is some town. What an airport. Hartsfield International. Facilities here. A growing, going town, Atlanta, Georgia. We hope you're enjoying the National League action from here this afternoon. 1 ball and 1 strike. Time called. Update you on a couple of scores. The Yankees have the lead against Boston in the 3rd. John and Nipper doing battle there. That's inside.
For a guy that was going to be a college baseball coach, Tommy John has really done well for the Yankees, hasn't he?
Milwaukee's up 1-0 over Toronto in the 3rd. Wegman against Key. Yankees and Toronto tied up in the American League East. Strike on the outside corner. 2-2. A 4-2 score on the board here in Atlanta, favoring Cincinnati. We have had 4 home runs already hit in this park this afternoon.
And I would venture to say there will be more hit before the afternoon is over.
That's a prediction.
Yes.
Probably is going to come true. That was a little high, and it's 3-2. And again, Gullickson goes full.
And this is where, as I mentioned, he has his most problems, is when he has to throw the fastball and the hitter knows it's coming.
You'll notice Deion James, he stands a little bit like Rod Carew at the dish.
Yes, he does.
And ball wasn't held. I was about to say he struck out, but Diaz couldn't hold that foul tip.
You know, another guy in the American League, Cecil Cooper, stands like Rod Carew, and Deion James played with him in Milwaukee a little bit, so maybe, you know, he might be patterning himself after Cecil Cooper, who patterned himself after Rod Carew.
Well, that's not unusual, is it?
No, it isn't.
Yeah, another payoff pitch coming from Gullickson, and a walk. The 2nd of the afternoon.
I actually call that an American League stance, Jay, because they throw so many off-speed pitches and breaking balls there. A lot of the hitters there lean back to try to keep themselves back on the breaking ball. George Brett and a lot of the other fine hitters, Mattingly, a lot of those great hitters over there do that.
That's a good point. Here's Oberkfell. He hit into a double play after James had singled. Oberkfell hitting .299, 31 years old. Had a very good 86, hit .270 here. Throw over to first, back in time. Oberkfell's fine play and also the price of baseball made Horner expendable here. Bob Horner now in Japan. Runner goes, and a hit to the right side. The hit and run is pretty as you'll see it. They're at the corners.
Ken Oberkfell can maneuver the bat about as well as anyone, and he puts the runner in motion, and it's already a big hole at second base, and Oster goes over the cover and it makes it a wider hole, and he just drills it right through there. As you said, perfectly executed hit and run.
That's a pretty play when it works like that, isn't it? Oberkfell at first. James over at third. Gerald Perry stands in. Reds leading 4-2. The Reds have out-hit the Braves 4-3. And Perry grounded out back in the first inning. A chance to do some damage here. Strike. Perry has hit 3 home runs. He could give the Braves the lead the way the ball's going out of here this afternoon. And now Diaz wants to talk things over with his hurler.
I think he wants to talk about the fact that was a strike, but it was a high strike. And I think what he wants Gullickson to do is get the ball down, try to get a ground ball so he can get a double play and hopefully get out of the inning. On the high fastball, you're going to hit the ball in the air.
Joe, I was going to mention, this came to my mind, both of these clubs are without pitchers they really would like to have. Soto for Cincinnati, Suter for Atlanta. And what a difference they would make, but you can't dwell on injuries in this game. Here's a shot into center field. Davis on the run, turned the wrong way, couldn't get there. 1 run is home. They'll hold the other runners. It's 4-3. Well, Davis got turned around out there on a ball that he would normally catch.
I thought he was going to make the play, but the ball is hit awfully hard. And I think once he turned the wrong way once there, he could not get back to it. You see here, he'll look over his right shoulder, and he actually should be looking over his left shoulder. Now he tries to turn back. He can't get back quick enough because the ball was hit like a shot. I'm not sure he could have caught it anyway. He was playing kind of shallow, but he did turn the wrong way on the ball. As we see here, Perry really drives this ball. It's on a line. It's not a fly ball. It's a line drive. So he doesn't have a chance to make up for the fact that he did turn the wrong way.
I guess I've seen him make so many remarkable plays out there that I expect him to catch that when I might have been a little tough on him.
Right. Well, I think he probably feels that he should have caught it too. But once he turned the wrong way, he was dead because it was a line drive. You see players a lot of times turn the wrong way on a fly ball, but they have plenty of time to get back.
Well, sit back and enjoy this. Here's Murphy. He walked and scored in the second. And he's got an opportunity to put the Braves out in front. Cincinnati leading 4-3. 2 on and 1 out.
And here's a situation where it pays to have Ken Griffey behind him, because I think they will try to get Dale Murphy out, even though first base is open.
That's high.
Although it didn't look like it with that pitch.
There's Griffey. And as you mentioned earlier, it does make a difference in what's happening with this Atlanta lineup. Gullickson in a jam. We've already had 7 runs scored. Fouled away off to the right side.
Last night in the ball game, Dale Murphy had his 15-game hitting streak stopped, but he really showed me something as a team player. His last at bat, there was 3-0, and he would not swing. The score was way out of line. The ball was, inside, but a lot of guys would not take a walk in that situation when the ball game is 16-5 or whatever. They would go ahead and swing thinking about personal goals, but Dale Murphy just went ahead, took the walks. At the end of the hitting streak, I'll start another one tomorrow. And that's the sign of a real team player.
One ball and 1 strike to Murphy. There it goes! Way back, and Atlanta leads. Murphy hits his 22nd of the year to take the lead in that department. RBIs 47, 48, and 49. Bingo!
And as I said, Ken Griffey hitting behind him has really helped him this year, because with first base open in the past, even though Bob Horner might have been behind him, you would not pitch to Dale Murphy in that situation. You'd try to get a double play ball from Horner. But with Griffey coming up after hitting 347, you'd rather you take what your chances you're with Dale Murphy.
Griffey flied to center back in the second inning. Well, the fans who paid their way in this afternoon have got to be enjoying this one if you like offense, and hope you're having some fun watching it wherever you are this afternoon. Coming up after this action, of course, the Dodgers at Houston. Griffey batting .345. 1-1 the count. inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Six to 4 Atlanta. 10 runs, and we have not completed 3 innings of play.
There's another one.
Well, I don't know. I think he got under this one.
That's out
Is it gone? Yes, it is. Oh, my.
And that's why they pitched to Dale Murphy, because Ken Griffey is capable of doing that any time now. That's his 10th home run of the season.
Home runs on the afternoon. For Griffey, that was his 10th. I think our graphic said 9. That is number 10 for him, and here it is again. I thought he got under it too much, Joe, for a moment, but it just went and went and went.
That's the rabbit in the ball and the ballpark. I knew as soon as the ball was in the air, it's out of here, because the ball just seemed to keep carrying here, and like I say, the rabbit in the ball makes it go even further.
Nothing shaking in the bullpen for the Reds. Last night, Randy O'Neal, an outfielder, pitched 2 innings here. Paul O'Neal, excuse me, not Randy.
Randy's the new Braves pitcher.
That's right, he's the new Braves pitcher. But Paul O'Neal, Randy O'Neal has just been put on the roster along with Trench Davis. There's a story today in the papers here about Randy O'Neal, and here is a player hit, and out comes Andres Thomas. Here goes Gullickson, and here they come. Well, there's a lot of shoving and scratching and a good deal of hitting going in underneath. The umpire's trying to get them separated. Well, Joe, in a game like this, you might feel something like that was coming.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Jay. I don't ever think, there are times when I think a pitcher has a right to go inside on a hitter. But in this case, I don't think that was right. I don't care. The ball was thrown very close to Andres Thomas. In fact, it hit him, I guess, and I just don't like to see that.
I'll tell you, Gullickson is hot. He is really hot. They've got him off to the side. That's Frank Pulley there with him. Gullickson really lost his cool.
Well, Thomas actually made a couple of steps toward the mound. He wasn't sure he was going, but Gullickson made up his mind.
That's right.
Gullickson charged right after him. As soon as he saw Thomas make a step toward the mound, he charged him. And I have to agree, if you're going, you have to go. You can't take a step. You can't bluff out there.
Billy Williams, a veteran umpire, and his crew lecturing everybody as Chuck Tanner's talking to Williams. Actually, Williams is doing most of the talking.
I think this will be interesting to see how it is handled.
Gullickson hitting Andres Thomas. Thomas took a couple of steps, and then Gullickson came at him. Everybody here in the stadium on their feet.
I think you have to look at this and put it in perspective in the fact that the Reds have hit a lot of home runs this year off of other ball clubs. And if you're going to hit a lot of home runs and the other team hits them in return, you have to accept that. I don't think you can just start knocking hitters down or throwing at them, because your ball club hits a lot of home runs, and you have to keep that in perspective as you see Pete Rose and Chuck Tanner kind of have a little laugh here. And I guess they've kicked Andres Thomas out of the ball game.
Well, Thomas is apparently gone.
And the question here is, if Billy Williams thought that Gullickson was throwing at the hitter, why isn't he kicked out of the ball game? I know the rules say you warn a guy and you fine him $50 or whatever, but if you're so sure that he threw at the hitter, I think you have to kick the pitcher out as well.
Well, now, we're not absolutely sure that Thomas is gone, because he could have gone in the dugout and then will be coming back out at first, but I don't see him anywhere.
No, I think he's out of the ball game. There he is. But I think that's the question that I have. If he's sure that he threw at him, you have to take him out of the ball game as well. That's my opinion. And if you're not sure he threw at him, you shouldn't fine him.
Let's see if they get somebody throwing in the Cincinnati pen. This was the same umpiring crew that was involved in that Padres-Braves battle about 3 years ago. These guys have been involved in this kind of thing before. There's Andres Thomas. Gullickson still out there. Maybe our director, Bob Levy, and his crew can get a shot of that area in front of the mound, between home plate and the mound. It looks like somebody's taken a Mixmaster out there and just chopped it up. They were doing some scratching underneath there.
That was the ring. There's the ring right there. I am sure that
now Chuck Tanner is coming out, and Rose has indicated he's going to need a pitcher. I think Gullickson is out too.
I'm not sure Gullickson was not going to be taken out anyway by Rose. He'd given up, you know, the 7 runs. He wasn't sure he was going to stay in anyway.
John McSherry talking with Gullickson. Tanner talking with Williams. All of this precipitated by the toss from Gullickson that hit Andres Thomas.
Landrum will be coming in. Actually, we'll know for sure that if he was tossed out, because if he gets more than 7 warm-up pitches, that means that Gullickson was kicked out of the ball game.
Williams now coming back across the mound after talking with Tanner to discuss things with Pete Rose. Frank Pulley off to the right. Andres Thomas sitting it out. Here it is, Joe.
Well, the pitch is way behind, almost behind Thomas. As you see, it is behind him. And it hits him. I mean, that's the spot. If you throw the ball at the guy's shoulder, he's going to be hit.
And you saw Williams point immediately at Gullickson there. Gullickson leaves to a chorus of boos here in Atlanta.
Billy Williams immediately pointed that that was a fine. He immediately took charge. But in the meantime, Andres Thomas made a couple of steps toward the mound, and everything broke loose. See, this pitch is right there. There's no way you can get out of the way. See, if a guy throws at your head, you can get out of the way. But when he throws at your shoulder there, you can't get out of the way. And see, he actually is not sure he wants to go out there. But Gullickson is charging, as you can see. And here we go. And actually, I thought it was a pretty good fight as far as baseball fights go, Jay, because there were a few on the outskirts taking a few punches.
And there had to be some scratching going on underneath there, too. I saw a couple of guys trying to throw blows in underneath there anyway.
Yeah, there's Alexander. He's the last one to join the fray, and he's the pitcher. And I think he's saying to himself, I didn't throw at anyone when they hit home runs off of me, so they shouldn't throw it at my players. But Andres Thomas has already gone out of the dugout, so I'm sure he was tossed out of the ball game. And with the fact that Landrum is getting more than 7 warm-up tosses, that means that Gullickson was also thrown out of the ball game.
Bill Landrum will be the new pitcher. There goes Rose.
He's been in a few of those scraps himself.
And we'll have to see who comes out at first base. Tanner looking at his roster card.
You know, maybe they threw Gullickson out of the ball game as well because he charged off the mound. Thomas actually didn't go to the mound. Gullickson charged off the mound, which maybe they said that started the fight technically.
We got a shot of Rose's reaction to this whole matter. Watch Pete. He's seen this before. There they go, and look at Pete. Well, I'll go ahead on out there.
Well, see, Pete's also got a bad back. You have to remember, he doesn't want to go out there because his back is bothering him a little bit. He hurt his back hitting fungos the other night, and he definitely doesn't want to go out and get into a physical matchup here.
Rafael Ramirez will take over and run for Thomas. And of course, Ramirez has played a lot of shortstop here and also played third base when Sid Oberg fell down for a rest. So Rafael Ramirez at first base. Both players have been ejected.
And I think that was fair.
I do too. That was the way to handle it. Ramirez the pinch runner. Benedict, he homered in the second. First pitch is outside from Landrum.
We knew before the ball game we'd have a lot of fireworks. We didn't count on that, but this is a great ball game so far.
It's been a wild and woolly one. Time called. Two balls and no strikes. Ramirez at first, and that's not going to make Chuck Tanner very happy.
No, it isn't, because you don't have enough runs in this ball game. It's still early. He was going, and then he stopped. So he actually has to be charged with a caught stealing, not a pickoff there, because he actually broke towards second.
3-0 the count, and a walk to Benedict. Gullickson goes 2 1/3, gives up 7 runs on 6 hits.
I think the big thing, he threw 2 1/3 innings and threw 57 pitches or something like that.
56.
That's a lot of pitches.
Yeah, gave up 3 home runs, hit a man, walked 2, and struck out 1. Hubbard lined out in the second. This will play for Parker. Glasses down in foul territory. Well, that'll do it. In the inning, the Braves get the lead. 2 players are ejected, and it is 7-4 Atlanta. Gullickson on the hill, Thomas at the plate. This started the activity in the 3rd inning, and Gullickson throwing at Thomas. Thomas come out. Gullickson was ready. He knew what was going to happen, and that started it all. And Joe, you don't see this as often as you used to see it back when you broke into the game, or for that matter, back around 1900, 1910, 1920.
I think the real difference now, Jay, is the fact that when I first came to the league, if a guy hit a home run in front of you, they would throw the ball up and in. They may, just let you know, hey, I'm here. And then you'd go ahead and play the ball game. And if their guy did hit a home run, they'd knock one of their guys down, you keep going. Nowadays, it doesn't happen nearly as much, and the players get a little more upset about it because they don't pitch inside as much. Now, I think Andres Thomas had a right to be very upset there because the ball hit him. I think Gullickson could have thrown the ball up and in and accomplished basically the same thing to let him know, hey, I'm on the hill, you're not going to mistreat me all day. But once you hit a guy, I think that's incorrect. I think that was not called for, and therefore what happened. And I thought it was very fair that they threw both of them out of the ball game, because I think that Gullickson started the fight, and I think he should have been thrown out as well as Andres Thomas.
I couldn't agree with you more. Well, Doyle Alexander now has the lead. Gullickson's gone, and let's see if Alexander can settle down and handle these Reds, who will be trying to come back. There's got to be adrenaline flowing on both sides down there in heavy fashion.
Well, I think this is what makes for a great ball game. This is everyone's intensity is turned up another level.
Buddy Bell leads off, 4th inning.
But I think might add that the umpires have also warned Doyle Alexander that if he throws at anyone, they will take him out of the ball game, and Chuck Tanner as well.
Braves 7, Reds 4 as we move into the 4th inning. We've had 10 hits in the game. And this is a high, sky-high pop-up. It's going to be caught in foul ground by Oberkfell. One gone. Of the 10 hits in the game, we have 6 home runs.
As you mentioned at the beginning, they don't call this the launching pad for nothing.
Rafael Ramirez stays into the game, as we indicated, at shortstop. So it's Oberkfell, Ramirez, Hubbard, and Perry on the Atlanta infield. Bo Diaz got the infield single prior to Stillwell's home run in the 2nd. And it almost looked like the old blooper ball coming up there.
I felt, and I still feel, that Alexander will pitch a fine ball game because he gave up the runs early, and he gets his rhythm as he seems to be doing now, and he will keep you off balance. Like I say, he can mix up his pitches a lot better than Bill Gullickson could have because he changes speed so often, and he can keep you off balance. So I think he can keep the Reds at bay for a little while.
Diaz takes outside for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Diaz from Venezuela, originally signed by the Red Sox. Tapped foul. He's also, of course, played in Cleveland. Diaz has had his problems. He's been on the disabled list 7 times in his career.
Well, I'm not surprised at that because I think that catchers probably are very fortunate that they don't get hurt more often with the balls fouling off, you know, different parts of their body. It's tough to be a catcher and blocking the plate.
Alexander's outside with that curve. It's 2-2. If you're just joining us, the Reds got 2 runs on homers by Daniels and Jones in the 1st. And that's the strikeout, the 3rd for Alexander. The Reds got 2 more on the 2-run homer by Stillwell in the 2nd. He's coming up. And then a 2-run homer by Benedict in the 2nd for Atlanta. Home runs by Murphy and Griffey, and 5 runs in the 3rd to make it a 7-4 game. Boggs extends his hitting streak to 21 games. New York 3-2 over Boston in the 3rd. That ties Trammell for the longest hitting streak in the American League. 1 ball and 1 strike, 2 out. Stillwell with that 2-run homer in the 2nd. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Stillwell was born on June the 4th of 1965. Rose had 368 career hits at that point. You believe that? Alexander makes the play, and he has retired 9 straight. Alexander has settled down. We've played 3.5 innings. 7-4 Atlanta. NBC Sports begins its Wimbledon coverage with Wimbledon, a fortnight of tradition. Join Dick Enberg and Bud Collins for the 1-hour special. And know you'll enjoy it. Tennis, a little more passive game than baseball these days. Some of the features will include 7-time women's champion Martina Navratilova, 2 times men's winner Boris Becker. That's tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time on NBC Sports. Yes, sir. Get your strawberries ordered. Wimbledon coming up. Oh, and that's not Darryl Strawberries. That's right. I'm reminded. Here's Doyle Alexander to lead it off. He has 1 hit in 14 at-bats this season. Struck out in the 3rd inning. Landrum gets it in for a strike. He's ahead 0-2.
Landrum seems to be throwing a lot better this inning than he did last inning. I don't think he got completely loose when he came in to replace Gullickson.
That's low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 7-6-0 for Atlanta, 4-4-0 for Cincinnati. And the strikeout is the first for Landrum. Deion James has singled and walked, and he scored one of the 5 Atlanta runs as he came home in front of the big blasts. Perry got him home with a double, and then Murphy hit the 3-run shot back in the 3rd. Landrum coming in. He's from Columbia, South Carolina, the home of the Gamecocks. He was 1-3 at Denver last year. Appeared in 10 games for Cincinnati with no record. Toronto leads Milwaukee 2-0 there in the 5th inning. Pittsburgh 2-1 over Chicago at Wrigley Field this afternoon. Here it is 7-4 Atlanta. That's low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Landrum feels his position well, and they're 2 gone. I want to remind you that, as usual, Joe and I and the crew will be selecting our NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of this action.
And we've got a lot of candidates right now.
Do we? Kenny Obergefell's hit into a double play. He singled and scored in the 3rd. And that's a little high.
You saw a lot of Obergefell when he was with the Cardinals. He was a second baseman for quite a while, and then he moved over to 3rd. And I had not seen George Brett hit before, and the guy said that he reminded him a lot of George Brett because he hit the ball hard the other way. Of course, Brett has a lot more power than Obergefell, but he does move the ball around like Brett. Hits a lot of balls to left field.
Obi's done a real good job down here. He really has. And he's kind of found a home here in Atlanta. Tanner's very, very high on him. He thinks the fact that Obergefell and Hubbard have had all-star seasons up to now.
I don't think there's any doubt that Hubbard, you know, amongst the other second basemen in the league, he's done a very good job. Especially Ryan Sandberg is probably the top second baseman in the National League, and he's on the injured reserve now.
That's right.
Or disabled list, and he may not be able to play any all-star game.
Tommy Herr has played very well for the Cardinals. Obergefell with the walk, first given up by Landrum. Here's Perry. Had the double and the RBI in the 3rd. This will play for Davis. He's got the glasses down in short center field and makes the play. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left. And after 3.5, we'll remind you we'll be right back after these messages. All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, the Game of the Week quiz. Can you name all the former MVP winners that are in the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium today? We'll let you think about that.
I'll give him 1.
Oh, I'll give him 1.
Okay, you give him 1.
Joe Morgan.
Okay.
How's that?
That'll do.
Joe Morgan, who hit .327 and 75 for the Reds, .320 and 76, 7-time All-Star, and 2-time MVP. How's that?
Close.
Okay. We come back into this launching pad in Atlanta, and Ron Oster to lead it off. Hubbard throws out Oster.
I have to correct one thing there. You're close. I made the All-Star team 10 times.
Did you really?
Yeah, 10 times. From 72 through 79, and I made it twice with Houston.
My goodness, I didn't add that up well. Terry Francona is going to come into the ball game. Francona to pitch hit.
The reason I think about it because the All-Star game is coming up, and
That's right. On NBC.
On NBC, July 14th in Oakland.
Figures to be a nice pitching pairing, probably Scott against
Saberhagen.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Williams is up and throwing in the Reds bullpen. He'll be coming in to do the pitching, and Francona steps in. There's Williams. takes a strike.
You know, so far this year I've been asked about 15 times to compare this Cincinnati Red team to the teams of 75, 76 when I played there, the real Big Red Machine.
Francona singles into right center.
And one of the real differences is right now, if the score was 7-4 and we're only in the 4th inning, the Reds of 76 would feel like they were ahead instead of behind by 3. There's the starters from 75, 76, and the 87 team.
That was a good bunch.
Yeah. Actually, when I am compared to teams, I only think, and being very objective now, Jay, I only think there's 2 guys on the present team that would start for the 75, 76 team, that being Parker in right field and Eric Davis in center field. Those are the only 2 positions I think that I would choose over the 75, 76 team.
You're entitled to that opinion, I think.
That's as objective as I can be.
I can understand. Daniels is homered and flied to right. He takes a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out. Runner at first base. We're in the 5th.
There's Pete Rose. He was the captain of the 75, 76 team. Now he's the manager of this team.
Hard to believe he's 46 years old, concentrating on managing full-time now. And
I can definitely see a difference as well, Jay. He's a much better manager this year than he was when he was trying to play. When you split your duties, you know, it's tough to get ready to play a ball game and also get ready to manage it at the same time. Last year, I think George Sugar and the guys made a lot of the decisions for him. This year, he's doing all the managing, and I think it shows up. He's doing a better job this year.
Highest paid manager in the league.
Well, he probably should be.
$800,000. Likes thoroughbred horses, as does Chuck Tanner. Tanner has some horses down in Kentucky, and Pete has a little teeny tiny interest in a horse called Bet Twice that won the Belmont. Might see Bet Twice in the Breeders' Cup in November here on NBC. This is down the right side. Murphy ranging over, has a play.
And that's the 2nd time after the home run. 2 times in a row now he's gotten Cal Daniels on a changeup, and he's hit 2 fly balls to right field.
Alexander, a rocky start as he gave up the homers to Daniels and Jones in the 1st inning, but he has settled down and his club leads it 7-4.
And you saw the changeup and Daniels way out in front.
Jones with a homer in the 1st, then grounded out in the 1st. It jammed him that time.
What Alexander has done to Tracy Jones since he hit the home run the 1st time up, he's really moved the ball around well. He's thrown the fastball up and in as he did there, and he's gotten the breaking ball away toward the outside corner. Started over the outside corner and then broke it off the plate, and Jones has chased it. There it is.
Just got a little bit of the bat on that one. Again, we'll remind you the Braves have purchased the AAA contracts of pitcher Randy O'Neal and outfielder Trench Davis. O'Neal and Davis will take to the roster spots vacated by Palmer and Hall, who've been placed on the DL here. Up the middle and coming over, Hubbard makes the play. Hubbard ranging to his right, took it away. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 left. And we'll go to the bottom of the 5th, 7-4. With Joe Morgan, Jay Randolph here in Atlanta. Frank Williams, the new hurler for Cincinnati. Murphy stands at the plate, takes a strike. Murphy walked and scored in the 2nd. Hit the 3-run homer in the 3rd. Williams from Seattle, Washington. 190 pounds, 6'1". Fouled away. Williams opened the season last year with Phoenix, then was promoted up to San Francisco. He was 1-1 at Phoenix, 3-1 at San Francisco. And he was acquired here in January. Came from San Francisco with Timber Meade and Mike Villa for Eddie Milner. Parker has a play, battling the sun, and he makes it. Let's pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WTHR Channel 13, Indianapolis.
Seven to 4, the Braves. We've had 11 runs on 11 hits. Griffey has flied to center, and he homered in the third. Williams, a 2.68 ERA this season, 1 save.
And he throws a little sidearm. I think a lot of people think that when a pitcher throws sidearm to the right-handed hitters, it scares them. That's not really what happens. What happens is you get accustomed to looking for a pitch from the guy's shoulder. And when you don't see the ball right away, actually you flinch a little bit. And that's the reason that a sidearm right-hander is effective against right-handed pitchers. They're not as effective against left-handed hitters, as you can see there, because a left-handed hitter can see the ball all the way.
Griffey continuing to hammer his ex-teammates, 2 for 3 on the afternoon. Griffey's a lifetime 300 hitter in the National League. 6 of his 10 home runs this year have come versus the Reds. Ramirez standing in. You'll remember he came into the game to take over for Andres Thomas, who was ejected along with Gullickson after the 3rd inning brawl. Ramirez batting .276, very aggressive at the plate, this fella.
Well, you can't walk him. He's a pretty good player. He had a couple of real fine years in a row here. In fact, he and Hubbard, I thought, were the best double play combination in the National League.
Runner going and out at second base. Good job by Diaz.
That was a hit and run play that didn't work. We saw it work before with Obergefell handling the bat. But with Ramirez here, it's a high fastball. Griffey's going with the pitch. You see him look at the plate right there to see where Ramirez hits the ball, and he knows he hasn't hit it, so now he's on his own.
This pitch is outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Diaz doing a good job cutting down Griffey. That's foul back and out of play. 2-2 with 2 out and nobody on. Outside. It's an interesting look for a batter when he has to see that fella come sidearm, Joe.
Well, I think the adjustment he has to make is he has to look off his right hip. See, you look off a guy's right shoulder normally, but a sidearmer, you have to look off his right hip. And if you don't do that, really it's tough to pick the ball up. But you got to have it, you look up top. And when he drops down, it bothers you.
Into right field on the run. Tracy Jones can't get there as the ball hit in foul ground about 10 or 15 feet. Jones just had too far to go, and we'll do it again.
He gives it an all-out effort, and as I said before, Pete Rose said he's one of the hardest working players that he's ever had. He's just a real hard-nosed player. You see dives even though the ball's on the ground. But he's had the biggest adjustment to make of the 2 guys. You know, even though he's going to start every day, he has not played right field very much, and he has to make that adjustment as well.
And this is into left center, and it's a gapper, and it's going to get all the way to the wall. A double for Ramirez.
And the missed hit and run cost the Braves a run there, because Griffey would have been able to score on that ball had he remained at first base.
Benedict, 2-run homer in the second, walked in the third.
Russ Nixon, he was a former manager of the Reds. He's the third base coach now for the Atlanta Braves.
Nixon at third, and of course Willie Stargell over there at first. You folks remember our quiz now. Willie Stargell would be on that list, wouldn't he?
Yes, he would. He was MVP with the Pirates in 1979, I believe. He was Keith Hernandez, and he tied for that award. I never understood how you could do that, but they did.
That's a little high. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yes, Mike
Benedict.
Cuellar and what's the guy's name? Won 30 ball games. Denny McClain tied for the Cy Young Award.
Oh, he got him in there with that one. Took something off of it. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I guess McLean says, see how easily they forget. He's the last guy to win 30 ball games.
And he's had a lot happen to him. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ramirez out there at second base. And a shot into center field, and it hits in front of Davis. Here's the runner trying to score. He's in, down to second, and they've got him. But the Braves pick up another run. It is now 8-4 Atlanta. And now, here's another edition of Baseball Remembers. Braves leading the Reds 8-4. The Reds leading the National League West coming into today's play here. Jay Randolph along with Joe Morgan. Well, how are we doing on the quiz now? You want to throw out another name for
Well,
him?
we got most of them. We got Willie Stargell and Joe Morgan. Of course, Pete Rose with the Reds manager, and of course Dave Parker when he was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and of course Johnny Bench is doing the Reds TV.
Right.
He's in town.
Johnny Bench is here.
And Hank Aaron may not be in town. I think he's on a scouting trip, but he would also qualify.
That everybody?
That's everyone that I know.
You're sure? How about Dale Murphy?
I forgot.
Two-time winner.
Two-time,
yes, sir.
Yeah, Dale Murphy of the Braves.
Well, this has been a wild and woolly afternoon, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Started off with a bang. 2 guys hit home runs back-to-back in the first inning. It's been a real fine ball game. There you see Pete Rose. He's the most valuable player for the Reds in 1973. Darryl Murphy was in 84, 83, and 84.
Here they are. We'll just list them for you. I don't think we're going to put Aaron down because he out of the city.
Be here.
He's out of the city. He doesn't count. Well, that was fun. Tracy Jones stands in there. Davis stands in, I should say, against Doyle Alexander.
As you mentioned, and we mentioned in the beginning, Doyle Alexander has settled down.
Here's a possible MVP and another possible home run. All right. The play is made by Murphy right at the wall. You know, we've had 6 homers here today. The most home runs by both clubs in one game in Atlanta is 10. And that was the Braves and the Reds in a 13-8 game in April of 1970.
That was when the Big Red Machine first started.
We'll keep that in mind anyway.
He actually jammed Eric Davis there, and the ball still went against the wall. That shows how the ball is carrying. That was a good pitch by Alexander, and he almost got hurt with it.
Dave Parker has flied to right and fouled out today. Braves leading 8-4. And that's foul back and out of play. It's a warm afternoon here. Parker working on that bubble gum. Parker signed as a free agent in '84. Originally a 14-round pick for the Pirates way back in '70.
He won a couple of batting championships to go along with that MVP.
Couldn't catch up with that one. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And out of play, off to the left side. Rick Mailer and Ted Power, the pitchers for these teams tomorrow.
They may change their mind after today's ball game.
That's right. There's Mailer. And the strikeout. That's number 4 for Doyle Alec. Oh, apparently it was a foul tip. The ball got away. It's not a strikeout. We'll do it again.
Interesting note for the Reds, Jay, is that they have not, as we see Parker get a piece of this whenever you see it fouled and Bruce Benedict can't hold on. The Reds have not had a base runner in scoring position today. All their runs have come on home runs, and no one else has reached second base. There's Tommy Helms along with Pete Rose.
Into right field. Murphy got a good jump, and he gets there. Well, you watch Murphy, and he can do it all.
He got a good jump on the play, but Doyle Alexander has gotten Dave Parker out 3 times with the changeup, and he's had Dave out front.
Murphy has 5 putouts in this game now. Buddy Bell has fouled out twice, 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Later on, of course, Los Angeles at Houston, the second half of the doubleheader. Ben and Joe on hand down in the Dome. Buddy Bell, actually born in Pittsburgh, but grew up in Cincinnati. It took this fellow a little while to get used to the National League after coming from Texas. He's 7 years with Cleveland, 7 years with Texas, a lifetime .282 average coming into this season. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
The real adjustment he had was when he came to the National League. In the National League, they pitch you fastballs inside first to try to get you out, and he didn't handle the ball inside. And in the American League, all those years, they pitched you away, and he had adjusted to that.
Benedict makes the play in time. So they're down 1-2-3 in the 6th inning. Atlanta holds on to an 8-4 lead. Eight runs on 9 hits and no errors. The Reds 4-5-0 as we move into the bottom of the 6th. Jay Randolph and Joe Morgan with you here at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. Rain early this morning, showers almost up until game time, but we have had a rain-free contest, although it's been raining baseballs over the wall here all afternoon. Hubbard will lead it off. He is lined to left and fouled out. Hubbard, as we mentioned early on, having a very fine year with Garcia on the shelf. Hubbard was a legendary high school wrestling star in Ogden, Utah. He's had some terrible problems, very scary heartbeat rate problems the last 2 seasons, and thank goodness he's okay. They really feared for him a couple of times. No balls and 1 strike. Frank Williams now doing the pitching. He followed Gullickson and Landrum. It's ripped foul. If you're just joining us, we can tell you that Gullickson hit Andres Thomas in the 3rd inning with a pitch. Thomas took a couple of steps forward, and Gullickson charged, and a brawl ensued with both benches coming onto the field. Thomas and Gullickson were both ejected. This one fouled out of play. Boston 6-3 over New York in the 5th. Cleveland has a 1-0 advantage over Seattle. Disappointing year for Cleveland's Indians. I guess when you don't have any pitching, that's a real problem. Diaz in foul ground makes the play. Time to check in for an update with Don Criqui in New York. Don?
Thanks, Jay. The Red Sox are hitting and running at Fenway. Jim Rice broke a 3-all tie with the Yankees with his 2-run single. Soon after they added another run, Tommy John was done for the day. And now in the top of the 6th, Boston leads New York 6-3. Here's Jay and Joe in Atlanta.
All right, good to hear the voice of Don Criqui. Rice still doing the job, huh?
Well, he's really started off very slowly. He got hit on the left elbow a couple of times and really set him back, and he's starting to come forth now, and they need him if they're going to make a challenge in the American League East.
Alexander hits it to Stillwell. He's out of there. 2 gone.
Looking at Stillwell at shortstop, he, as you mentioned, he was their #1 draft choice a couple of years ago, but he wasn't their starter. Barry Larkin started the season, and he started off very well, and he got hit at second base on a play. He hurt his knee, and when he came back, he has not been able to produce. So Stillwell has started to play the last few ball games, but Larkin has a lot of ability, Pete tells me.
James takes a strike. He singled in the first, walked and scored in the third, grounded out in the fourth. Deion James played winter ball down in the Dominican. This fella has good speed. He's in a 4 for 54 slump recently. Toronto in the 6th leads Milwaukee 2-1.
4 for 54.
That's not so good, is it? 2-1 Pittsburgh over Chicago in the 3rd.
And especially with a guy that runs like he does, and from the left side, you would think he would chop one and beat it out.
Want him to do some damage on the base paths, but he can't get there very often.
No, when Ken Griffey first came up, he could run 280 just by putting the ball in play. There's one of the reasons there.
Davis will handle this one, and after 6 full innings of play, it is 8-4 Atlanta. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. The humidity makes it feel like it's a lot warmer than it is. It's only 77 degrees this afternoon, but a few temperatures have been higher earlier on when we had that little get-together in the 3rd inning, Joe.
I've been broadcasting now, I guess, for about 3 years. It's the first time I've ever seen a fight on a baseball field, because it looks different from up here.
Yeah, it
on
does.
the field, when your teammates start fighting, you start run out to help. You run out there and everything looks like a big muddle. Up here, we could see all the little individual contests going on around the mound out there.
Doyle Alexander's been handling the heat. That's Bill Shearer, who is loosening up for the Reds down the left side. The side-wheeling left-hander with the glasses there. Diaz, an infield single, scored on the home run by Stillwell in the 2nd. Diaz struck out in the 4th. Ball 1. Diaz came to the Reds in August of '85 with Greg Simpson for Tom Foley, Alan Nicely, and Fred Tolliver. There's a strike on the inside corner. Diaz bangs this one into center, and a fine play out there by Deion James. 1 gone.
The interesting thing about that play is he got such a great jump, he had to slow down. And the ball was actually in the gap at the beginning. Watch, see, he slows down now, but he had a great jump on the ball. As soon as he left the bat, he was in motion. That's what speed will do for you in the outfield.
Can't beat that speed. Kurt Stillwell, 2-run homer and a ground out this afternoon. Bunting, and the play made in time by Ramirez. Stillwell didn't think so. John McSherry with the call. Oh, that was a dandy bang play by Ramirez.
That was a very fine play, because normally if the ball's popped up like that, it's a base hit, but Ramirez charged it. Watch him. He gets rid of it right there quickly. Not even another step. He gets rid of the ball. Very close play at first base.
Ron Oster has flied to center and grounded out this afternoon. Sun shining brightly here now. Joe, is that a tough sky right at the moment?
Well, not really as bad,
huh?
because they got a few clouds up there, so it's not quite as bad as it could be.
Changeup is outside for a ball. Inside. Ricky Diamond producing this afternoon's game for NBC, and Bob Levy over from the Olympic unit to direct. Our fine crew bringing you the sights and sounds and battles and brawls from Atlanta.
He did a good job of covering that brawl.
Yes, sir. Alexander pitched at least 6 innings in all 6 of his starts this year. He's trying to pick up victory number 4.
I think the Braves have lost probably at least 3 victories by Alexander, because he wasn't signed till after May 1st. because I really believe in him. I played with him in '81 in San Francisco, and I tell you, I think he is a real major league pitcher. He knows how to pitch, and he never gives up. As he gave up the 4 runs in the first couple innings, I felt like he was still winning the ball game because he does not know the word give up. He doesn't know how to. He just goes out and he keeps battling, and I tell you, that tells you how good a pitcher he really is over his career. He keeps battling all the time.
That's foul back and out of play, and the count stays at 2-2 with 2 out. Cincinnati got 2 in the first on the home runs by Daniels and Jones, and 2 in the second on the home run by Stillwell, and that's been it. He's been traded 6 times, signed as a free agent 3 times, released once. Doyle Alexander, he's been around the horn a few times.
And that shows you right there that he won't quit.
That's right.
You get traded that many times, sometimes you might say, well, it's time to pack it in.
Fouled away again.
But one of the things I've seen, you see a pitcher, a lot of pitchers, they give up a couple of runs in the first inning, then a couple of more in the second inning, and they say, well, I don't have it today, and it's not my day. But you didn't see that in Doyle Alexander. He just bowed his neck a little bit and worked a little harder, and he's held on until the Braves have given him an 8-4 lead now.
It's always been the mark of the good pitchers. You'll hear teams say, well, you got to get this guy early. They get better as they go along.
Well, I think the guy that I personified that more than anyone was Bob Gibson.
There's Paul O'Neill on deck. Here's a long one, and that is way out of here. Oster comes up with a home run. It's his second of the season. 8-5, Atlanta. RBI number 17 for Oster. Paul O'Neill.
There you see
another look.
Oster just drives the right fastball in the outfield. 7th home run of the day.
O'Neill hits one into left. Coming on is Griffey. He makes the play. O'Neill pitched here last night. When he got on at first on one occasion, they asked him if he wanted the jacket, and he said no. Well, right now it's 8-5 Braves. Here's another edition of the 7th inning stretch. Mike Scott will be going for the Astros this afternoon. Ben and Joe on hand in the Astrodome. That's coming up, the Dodgers and the Astros. Bill Shearer is the new pitcher for the Reds. He was called up recently. The Reds, of course, had Jerry Royce. They let him go, and he's now been signed by California. Well, Shearer, the left-hander, is on. Williams went 2 innings, gave up a run on 3 hits. Kenny Oberkfell will lead it off, 7th inning.
Bill Shearer is a little tough on the left-handed hitters, and he's got Oberkfell and Curry in a row there, but he drops down, throws sidearm a little bit, and he has a big sweeping breaking ball, so he can be a little tough on the left-handers.
Oberkfell hit into a double play, singled and scored in the 3rd and walked in the 4th. Strike at the letters.
Oberkfell got a base hit off of Shearer last night off a fastball in the middle of the plate. That one's on the outside corner.
Fouled away. They have Gene Garber, the side-wheeler, up and throwing down the right side for the Atlanta club now. There he is, the bearded one. 35,313 paid attendance here today. One of the bigger crowds of the year for Atlanta. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Oberkfell, born in Maryville, Illinois, and he gets his 2nd hit of the day. He's 2 for 3. And Joe, you feel like maybe the Braves don't think 8 runs is enough.
Well, they're swinging the bats pretty well the last few ball games, so you want to stay hot. Shearer got that fastball inside, and Oberkfell hit it to right field.
Perry has grounded out He doubled and scored and got an RBI in the third, and he flied to center in the fourth inning. Gerald Perry, nephew of Danny Dreesen. Obergfell, not much of a threat to steal. He has only one stolen base this year. Perry, in fact, is the top man in that department for Atlanta with 11. They don't do a lot of running. Change up. 1 ball and 1 strike. Perry looking down to Russ Nixon.
You're speaking of Danny Dreesen. He was the first guy to hit a home run in the World Series as a DH.
Fans here trying to get something going. That's a little low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Atlanta with 8 runs on 10 hits. Cincinnati 5 runs on 6 hits. Now the Reds have Rob Murphy up and throwing. Oh, and he got him there as he, like he threw him a real hook down and away.
And his head flew out. Moved his head on the pitch.
2-2. Braves leading at 8-5. Fastball is outside. And Bill Scheer with a full count to Gerald Perry.
I know Chuck Tanner likes to run his players in this situation, but with a left-hander pitcher on the mound, a left-handed hitter, he may not send Obergfell.
Well, he's going, and it's up the middle, and a double play. It ricocheted off the mound right over to Stillwell, who just stepped on the bag and threw on to Parker.
That's a situation where I actually think it cost the Braves there. You know, you hit and run to stay out of the double play, but this would have been a base hit had they been in normal position, not moving on the play. Nice play by Stillwell. There you see Obergfell's going, and he does a good job of trying to break up the double play.
First pitch to Murphy is in for a strike. Murph has walked and scored. Banged out a 3-run homer in the third and fouled out in the fifth.
And he's taken over the home run lead in the National League with 22. Eric Davis had 21 at the beginning of this ball game.
1 ball and 1 strike. They're the home run leaders.
And with the exception of Jack Clark, he had 2 home runs taken away from him by Eric Davis. He may be tied with Murphy now.
He sure did. I was in Cincinnati on those 2 nights when Davis just made 2 remarkable catches. The first one high on the wall, and the second one he went over the wall to take one away from Clark.
Clark is having an unbelievable season there in St. Louis, and that's, I think, the reason why the Cardinals are in first place.
The Birds have had a lot of injuries, but they certainly have hung tough for Whitey Herzog. Lost a tough one last night in extra innings. Montreal playing very well. It'll be a most interesting race over there in that National League East. The Mets still the team to beat. You talk to Whitey Herzog or most of the managers.
Well, I think they've realized the Mets can get hot and play very well down the stretch as Murphy takes ball 4. But I also believe that the Cardinals have gone through all this adversity, and when they get their whole team together, I think they'll be able to hang on. I really hope so, in fact, because I'd like to see Jack Clark on a winning team again.
St. Louis has their young rookie McGrain back off the DL. He's been having some arm problems. Ken Griffey.
As you say, Whitey Herzog has done it with mirrors. There goes Murphy.
Murphy's going, and he is there. Murphy steals his 7th base of the season. Oh, Atlanta being rather aggressive on the base paths here in this bottom of the 7th inning.
They did that last night. They ran a lot. They're starting to put a few more guys in motion instead of waiting for the 3-run homer as they had done in the past. They're starting to run the bases a little more, do a few more hit and run plays.
Shearer wasn't thinking much about Murphy going, I can tell you that.
Well, Darryl Murphy, he steals 20 bases a year, and he hits, 30 home runs. He's a complete player.
Murphy stole a couple of bases here last night. Took something off that one, and Murphy couldn't find it. And Shearer's out in front, 0-2.
The one thing Shearer has not been able to do is finish the left-handed hitter. He got 0-2 on Oberkfell, and Oberkfell had a base hit. He got ahead of the second hitter, Gerald Perry, and Perry hit a shot up the middle, and now he has Griffey 0-2.
Griffey steps out. Gullickson started. He was ejected in the third inning after he hit Thomas, then Landrum, and Williams, and now Shearer on the hill. Just outside, they asked for the appeal. Third base umpire Brocklander says no. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 out, and Murphy out there at second base. Griffey would like to pick him up. That one gets by. Murphy goes on to third. It looked like a pass ball to me. We'll wait till he rule on it.
Yes.
Diaz got the glove on it.
Well, it's almost a strike. It's not way out of the strike zone.
Pass
It's
ball.
pass ball.
Oh, it's 2-2 now to Griffey. And the strikeout is the first for Shearer. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 left. And it is 8-5 Braves after 7. You're looking at the only man to play 500 games or more at 5 different positions. Pete Rose, that 44-game hitting streak in '78, the National League record, 304 lifetime. The manager of the Cincinnati Reds.
And I think the big question is, will he ever play again?
I doubt it. But
I think he will.
You think he will? Well, you know him better than I
was going
do.
to say, I know him pretty well, and I think he will. In September, I think he'll take a few more bats.
Daniels standing in. He's homered and flied to right twice. Alexander's thrown 100 pitches this afternoon.
And that's not bad, considering he got off to a rocky start.
That's inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Cincinnati has come from behind in 20 of their 37 wins, and that's what they'll have to do today, and it's 3-0.
And it seems like Alexander may be running out of gas, because from playing with him, when he starts to taking a lot of time like this, walking around the mound, it means that he's getting a little tired, because in the past, he gets the ball and throws it.
That's inside for ball 4. They've got Garber ready.
Yeah, I think here comes Chuck Tanner, because he looks like he's had enough.
Daniels with the walk. And Gene Garber's going to get the call. That is the first walk this afternoon, given up by Alexander. Oh, Alexander pitches 7 innings. He's given up 4 runs, 5 hits. He struck out 3 and walked 1. 5 runs, 4, 7 innings, 5 runs, 5 hits. Nice round of applause for Doyle Alexander. We'll be back right after this. Doyle Alexander, nice job. Yeah, he's out of gas, and Gene Garber is on. Garber from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Tracy Jones at the plate, the runner going, and they've got him hung up. And the throw is high from Ramirez. It gets by Perry, and Daniels will go down to second It'll be an error on the shortstop.
I don't understand what happened here. He had second base stolen very easily. Benedict wasn't even going to throw, and he stopped. See, watch. He comes up. He knows he doesn't have a chance. Now he stops, and now he's got a chance. I mean, he was so close to second base. All he had to do was keep running, and he would have made it very easily.
The error will be charged to Hubbard. No, wait a minute. The error will be charged to the
Ramirez.
Ramirez, that's correct. That was... Garber throws inside. Well, they're going to say he was caught stealing.
Right.
And it's an error
on his second baseman.
Charged to the second baseman. So
right, Bruce Benedict gets an assist.
Yeah. Two balls and no strikes. Garber on in relief of Alexander. Garber's been around a long time, and he's been in this position many times. That ball is foul.
You were speaking of Pete Rose's 44-game hitting streak. It was stopped here in Atlanta Stadium by Gene Garber and a couple other pitchers and Larry McWilliams, but Garber got Pete Rose out for the last out in the 9th inning of that ball game. It was a great streak. I was fortunate enough to be on the team when he hit that. 44 straight games. That's a lot.
And it sure is a lot. Acker and Ossenmacher now warming up down the right side for Atlanta. And this gets by into the hole. Daniels will hold up at third. They're at the corners. And the Reds have something going. Jones now is 2 for 4 on the day, and Eric Davis will come to the dish. Davis in April and May, some kind of hot. In June, rather cool. Davis 0 for 3 this afternoon. Double play ball. Got him. And the run comes in. Daniels scores. No RBI on the play.
That's what Gene Garber does so well. He gets the ground ball because he throws from the side and the ball sinks, and he gets you to hit a lot of ground balls. And you have to hit the ball near the bag, as Davis does here, to double him up because he's awfully quick. But the ball's hit close to the bag, quick toss to second by Ramirez, over to first by Hubbard. And as I said, those two guys are adept at making the double play. They're two of the best.
Parker has flied into right twice and fouled out. 8-6 the score. Atlanta has out-hit Cincinnati 10-7. Atlanta's committed the only error. Garber comes in, a foul tip that is held, and he's out in front 0-2.
Dave has been having a lot of trouble with changeups today, and he's usually a pretty good off-speed hitter.
305 lifetime against Atlanta. A little low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cincinnati with 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second, single runs in the 7th and 8th. Strikeout. The first for Garber. A run on 1 hit. They'll go into the bottom of the 8th inning. The Braves lead it 8-6. Eric Davis just hitting into a debilitating double play, but Davis is very, very tough on defense. June 2nd in Cincinnati. Watch this catch. Joe, this is one of 2 he took away in 2 nights from Jack Clark. Now that was a good catch.
That was a good catch.
Really good.
No, that was a great catch.
Watch this one. This is the next evening. Over the wall to get it.
Unbelievable.
That's what Jack Clark thinks too.
So Jack Clark has 20 home runs instead of 22. You know, a lot of the Reds management people feel that Cal Daniels will eventually be maybe a better hitter than Eric Davis. But Eric Davis has so many other qualities defensively, running the bases, that he will always be probably the better player.
Ramirez came into the game in the 3rd inning when Thomas was ejected along with Gullickson after a bench-clearing brawl. When Gullickson hit Thomas, this is foul back and just in front of us. You didn't want to make a play on that one?
No.
Ramirez, 281, has a home run, 18 RBIs, and as we said, this fella's very aggressive when he stands in there. Originally signed as an outfielder, hit 240 here last year. A career 273 hitter against Cincinnati, and another foul out of play. Ramirez doubled and scored in the 5th. Clouding up again here in Atlanta. We had rain earlier this morning. In fact, nearly up to game time. Neither club was able to take any hitting practice or infield practice.
I think the Reds will have to make a pitching move to get another starting pitcher if they are to win the West, because as we mentioned, Houston has starting pitching intact.
Into left field, Daniels is there, and there is one gone. Time for an update. Let's check in with Don Criqui in this report from New York.
Thanks, Jay. When the rain stopped, the fight began at Cleveland. Rick Dempsey of the Indians caught in a rundown, didn't like the tag by Jim Presley of Seattle, and here we go again. Umpire Larry Young was the 3rd man in the ring. No ejections. Let's go back to Jay Randolph and Joe Morgan.
I wonder if their fight was as good as ours.
I don't think so. Nobody was ejected from that one. Here's Benedict. Takes high. Well, there must be a karma around the game of baseball today, or a full moon somewhere, or something going on. I tell you, there's a little of our activity. Fun at the old ballpark, as Harry Carey would say. Atlanta's leading at 8-6. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning here in Atlanta. We've had a little bit of everything. A lot of fun here. And what a play by Bell. Bell ranging to his left, just got the glove to it in time. 2 gone.
As we mentioned, Buddy Bell is a Gold Glove third baseman, especially in the American League, and there he makes a fine play. But with all the fights going on, Jay, we may have to start handing out hockey masks to the players.
Hubbard stands in. He's lined out and fouled out twice today. Strike 1 to Hubbard.
But it's been said that baseball players are the worst fighters of all the pro sports.
I wonder how some of the fighters would do these days playing baseball. I don't know.
No.
I don't think too well.
Not too well.
You can't see Jerry Cooney playing first base,
No.
huh? That gets away. 2 balls and 1 strike. They've had 14 runs scored on 17 hits here. A lot of home runs early. Alexander settled down, did a nice job. Alexander's going to win his 4th of the year if Atlanta holds on. Oh, nice play, but no way to throw out Glenn Hubbard. Oh, a 2-out single for Hubbard. And Garber will get an opportunity to bat, something that doesn't happen too often for him.
And that gives each Brave a hit in the lineup today. with the exception of Andres Thomas, who was thrown out, but Ramirez got a base hit replacing him.
This is Garber's first time at bat this season. Look at the stats, and he'll be glad to just take 3 whacks and get out of there.
I think his bat probably has for display only on it.
Strike 2. All Scherer has to do is throw it in there, and we can go to the 9th inning. That's it. And it is 8-6 Atlanta, as we have played 8 here at Fulton County Stadium. Take you back to the 3rd inning. Gullickson hits Thomas, and the 2 of them go at it, and the bench is empty here in Atlanta. Fighting in the National League, fighting over in the American League at Cleveland today, and fighting on Sports World tomorrow. Darren Van Horn, the young sophomore out of the University of Kentucky, an undefeated record on the line. The 10-round junior middleweight bout against the veteran brawler Luis Santana. Van Horn will be fighting in front of his college classmates in Lexington. That's tomorrow on Sports World. Buddy Bell leading off in the 9th, takes a strike from Gene Garber. Bell did something here in batting practice the other day, Thursday. We're going to show you. He banged a hole right in the wall in left field with a ball off his bat. This will go down and play for Obergfell. Bell is out. We'll give you a shot in left field out at the 3:30 mark of where Bell hit one right through the wall, Joe, and they patched it up out there.
Well, they've got the wall now that gives a little bit, and he probably hit a real line drive right through it. That's that rabbit in the ball, I keep telling you.
It gave a lot. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WTHR, Channel 13, Indianapolis.
8-11-1 for the Braves, 6-7-0 for the Reds. Coming up, the Dodgers at Houston with Ben and Joe. Just outside to Bo Diaz, who had an infield single and scored in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th and fly to center in the 7th. John Franco is up and hurling down the left side for Cincinnati if need be. Ossenmacher and Acker watching from the bullpen where they've been heating up down the right side for Atlanta.
Even though the Braves have given up 6 runs, actually the key, I think, has been the success they've had on the middle of the lineup. Dave Parker, Eric Davis, and Buddy Bell are 0 for 12 combined.
Murphy's got the glasses down and makes the play in right.
Anytime you get the 3rd, 4th, and 5th hitters 0 for 12, you got a pretty good chance of winning the ball game.
Here's Kurt Stillwell. He hit a 2-run homer in the 2nd, grounded out in the 4th and in the 7th. The Braves, with a victory, will be 7-6 this season against Cincinnati. Won here last night 16-5. They finish up this 4-game series tomorrow with Mailer against Power. Garber going for a save here. Alexander would get his 4th victory. It's not over yet as Stillwell keeps it alive with a single into center.
And Ronnie Oster can tie it up, and he hit a home run his last at bat.
Oster, he hit a home run in the 7th. It was his 2nd of the season. He does that again. We've got a whole new ball game. He flied to center in the 2nd and grounded out in the 5th. And it's up the middle, and they're 2 on and 2 out. Runners at the corners. Oh, this one is far from over. And let's see. We talked about him early in this telecast, Nick Gasaski. A man with no place to play these days. 2 home runs here last night. Lifetime at Atlanta Stadium, 438. And Shearer is out of the game. We mentioned Franco is ready to pitch if needed. And let's see if Osaski can tie it up. There's Franco, or maybe even put the Reds ahead. Osaski will represent the go-ahead run with Stillwell and Oster on the bases. Gene Garber trying to save it for Alexander here, and we're coming to the wire. It's been quite an afternoon, Joe.
Yeah, as it has been, and Gene Garber against Nick Osaski will finish it one way or the other. Osaski's 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter so far this year. He doesn't pinch hit that often, and most of your sluggers are not good pinch hitters normally.
You saw that graphic about a large proportion of his hits being for extra bases. Now we're going to get a runner.
Barry Larkin.
Barry Larkin will come in to run for Oster. So it'll be Larkin at first, Stillwell over at third. They're not worried about Stillwell.
No.
They're worried about Larkin and the man at the plate. Fouled away.
Larkin has stole 7 out of 8 bases so far this season, so we'll see if Pete lets him try to steal his way in the scoring position. It's easy to get a good jump off Garber because he tucks and steps over toward third base, so the runner can get a good jump from first base if he chooses to take that chance.
And at this point, it is always a big chance with a ball game on the line. Garber steps off. Took something off that one and got it on the outside corner.
That was an excellent pitch by Garber, but we were talking about more balks being called last year. He did not stop them. Garber just started down and continued on to the plate with that pitch.
There have been a great many more balks this season called in the National League than a year ago. 0-2, 2 on, 2 out, 9th inning. Atlanta leading 8-6. Runner goes, and they let him go as the pitch was outside, and Benedict really didn't have a play. Stolen base for Larkin, and now the tying runs in scoring position. One ball and 2 strikes to Osaski. Time called. Benedict wants to talk it over.
Well, with the ball game on the line right here, you have to decide exactly where you want this pitch. If you want to try to waste one, since they are ahead in the count 1-2, you want to try to throw a fastball inside or something to get Osaski to chase it, or do you want to try to finish it right here?
There's 2 managers, Rose and Tanner. An afternoon of big bats and brawling here in Atlanta, right to the wire. To be outside. Braves win it. Gene Garber gets his 201st career save. He's 6th on the all-time list. Osaski striking out with 2 on to end this game, and an 8-6 victory for the Atlanta Braves. The win goes to Doyle Alexander. He is now 4-1 on the year. Well, we're going to make our MVP Dale Murphy. Murphy had the 3-run homer. We could have selected a lot of people, I think, Joe, this afternoon.
Well, I think we could have selected Doyle Alexander because he came back and held him for 7 innings, actually 8 innings, to give his team a chance. But Dale Murphy hit the game-winning RBI that put them ahead. So
they picked up 5 runs in the 3rd. Murphy, the Miller Lite player of the game. Miller Lite happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Dale Murphy to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Well, the Major League Baseball Game of the Week has been brought to you by Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one light beer. By Yugo. Buy yourself a little freedom and see how it feels to have your own set of wheels. By Howard Johnson Hotels and Lodges. And by the Champion Spark Plug Company. The Braves win at 8-6. For Joe Morgan, Jay Randolph. So long from Atlanta. And let's take you now to more action in Boston.